audibletrial.com/talkitout. Check it out where you can access over 1,800 different audiobooks. Download it on your Kindle, listen to it on your laptop, on your phone, and you get one free audiobook download. Check it out, audibletrial.com/talkitout. So today's episode is going to be on mental health and how it affects millennials and just people in general and how we address it in society. So here's a question that was given to me by KT. She wanted me to ask everybody if they were mentally healthy.
Nope.
I guess.
That's the answer that society wants you to say. I guess.
I'm fine. It's okay.
I mean,
I'm all right.
Okay, here's
If I took a test, then they would say, I don't know what they would say actually.
But here's the thing. So in our last one, we were talking about physical health, and so the question was asked, "How do you know you're physically healthy?" And we kind of tried to give our whatever. So how will someone know that they are mentally healthy or mentally sick, ill?
I don't really think you know.
I think if you think you're okay, then you're sick.
No, I don't really think you know. Like, if that's your world every single day, then there's no difference. Until someone is like, hey, something's wrong with you, and you're like, what? Like, no, this is my everyday. This is how I act.
Right.
Well, that's not normal. So until someone comes to you and says, hey, that's wrong, or until you see something and you're like, no, that's wrong, my mental health isn't like other people's mental health, or I don't react to certain situations like other people do, then I don't think you really know.
Okay. What you think, Joy?
I agree. Like, I think we are as mentally healthy as we want to be. No, as we think we are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as far as when I say that, I'm not talking about like psychopaths or people who are sociopaths or anything like that. I'm talking about everyday normal people that I think we're as healthy mentally as we think we are. I think if we think we're okay and we're doing this and we're all positive vibing, then we're okay. But then if we really know that we're not okay, but we're going to put out that we're okay instead, then we're not okay. We know, I feel like human beings a lot of the time, we know what we feel. It's just how we express it is like, if I'm really sad and I act like I'm okay, then I'm not okay no matter how I'm acting. And I think that my mental health appears to be good, but I know it's not good. So I just, as far as we think we are.
Trigger warning, obviously, because this could be triggering to some people. But how do you yourself, like, if you feel like you're not mentally well currently, then how did you get to this point in your life? And if you want, I can open discussion. I can tell my story first, so that you guys kind of know what I'm talking about. Okay, so the way I am, I kind of grew up in this environment where who I am and what I do and how I present myself was not accepting at all. So there were multiple times in my life where I would be like, hey, this is me, this is what I am. And then it would just get completely rejected. And not only was it, hey, this is me, this is who I am, and I was rejected by the entire family, but I was also mentally abused and physically abused, like literally physically abused, almost breaking my leg, holding a stun gun, a taser to my head, like, and I feel like that's kind of what triggered my mental illness, because I grew up in an environment that was not healthy for me, and where I was not able to express myself, and where I was not able to, be who I want to be. And not just big things like this is who I am, but like little small things like I really want to be an artist. And that was something that it was really, really important to me growing up. And I told my parents, or not my parents, but I told my mom, I was like, hey, I'm going to go to school for art. And I just kept getting told, you know, you're not going to make money, so, and you can't pursue that career. Mm-hmm. And it was like, even something small like that, like, it affects who you are, and it affects what path you go down, because I dropped out of college because I felt like I wasn't being challenged enough. And like, if I would have just done what I wanted to do to begin with, then who knows where I could have been at, you know?
Yeah.
And as a child, you take everything that your parents say
so seriously.
Yeah, so seriously. So you're like, they know what they're talking about. Even if they are the ones mentally and physically abusing you, you still look up to them because they're your parents.
Yeah.
So to me, you know, that's kind of where my mental disability started, was then. So y'all can, if y'all have one, then you can go ahead.
Okay.
This is gonna get deep, y'all. This is gonna get real deep. Deep.
Okay. Well, I'll go. As far as my story, I don't know if I'm like mentally ill or mentally disabled, but I do think like I have weaknesses, especially moments of weaknesses like everybody else. And I think these moments of weaknesses, no matter how dramatic, no matter how big, no matter how deep I feel them, they're what keep me mentally stable. Because if I'm not the type of person to hold back my emotions with people I care about. Like, if I don't care about somebody, like, it's over, it's done. I really don't. I'm not worried about it. Yeah. But if I'm connected to you and I love you and I care for you and I'm doing everything that I can, it's just a feeling that I have. Like, I care what you think. I need to know this, and it gives me a little bit of anxiety when I have falling outs with these people, especially if it's over something that's small or something that I think like, okay, this can be solved. Don't take it, like, blow it out of proportion. But I also feel like my moments of weakness keep me mentally stable. With my father, I actually got into a screaming. It wasn't even a screaming. It wasn't even a match. Like, it wasn't an argument. It wasn't a screaming match. I literally was disappointed by some news that he told me. Well, I wasn't even disappointed because I knew that we weren't doing whatever the plan was to do, and I knew that, and I had already had different plans. I just had a flashback of, we were supposed to go to New York and we didn't end up going. And I had a flashback of the time we were supposed to go to New York when I was little, and he left me and my sister at an airport. Ooh. Just left us there because we were late. But he just left us there. Wow. Like, I'm like, okay, we're like, we can't drive it. It's not our fault. Like, just you could take the next plane. It's not that serious. We're spending a whole week there. Right. But this time when it happened, I was so like calm that I wasn't mad until I got to his house. And I was going to ask for some money, but hey, you know, because I was upset, I was like, okay, well, give me some money then. But the whole purpose of me going over there, I guess I asked for it. I was upset. And then I just saw his house and I just got so mad.
You were triggered.
I
was
triggered by the house.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't my house. I've never lived there, but I was triggered by his house.
Yeah.
And I was just like, like something just went off in my head. And I was just like, and I went outside. I was like, I asked for the money. He gave it to me and I walked away. And in the car, I started crying, and I'm thinking to myself, why does this always happen? Why am I crying again? And he's the one who disappointed me, and he has no clue how I feel. So I stormed back in the house. I stormed back in the house, and I let go, not let go all of it, but I let go some of 20 years of anger. And I was like, going at it, and I didn't curse him. I didn't curse out his, you know, family or whatever. And but I did curse, but I didn't curse him out, you know what I mean? And I just let it go. And for me, that has lifted so much weight off of me that I didn't even know was there. Wow. You know what I mean? Because all this time I've just been like, well, I don't care. You know, it doesn't matter. He is who he is. You can't change. And that's great that I understand that. That's fine that I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't let someone know how you feel about them, or especially if it's important to you, if it's messing with you, then you're never going to be free of what they done for you. To you.
So I kind of want to, I'm sorry, I kind of want to bring up like some statistics, since this is about like kind of children and millennials. So I'm just reading these off of the mental health website. It's called National Alliance on Mental Illness, and you guys can go to that, www.nami.org. And
fancy.
basically, it states that 1 in 5 children ages 13 through 18 have or will have a serious mental illness. 20% of youth ages 13 to 18 live with a mental condition currently. 11% of youth have a mood disorder, 10% of youth have a behavior disorder, and 8% of youth have an anxiety disorder. And basically, suicide is number 3 in killing in our society. Yeah. So mental health, I don't think we really talk about it enough. But yeah, it's really important and crazy. What about you, Gabby?
This story probably could have been related in the toxic relationships episode, but since everybody else had a story, I guess I can tell a story. It's not as deep as everybody else's, but
it's important because toxic relationships do lead to having a mental health issue, I think. So
college, my freshman year, I had to deal with a person that was very manipulative and controlling in some aspects, and just sometimes just not a good person, but sometimes she was. So like when we got there, we had grown up together pretty much, and so we got to college, and so you think something's gonna be one way because I mean you've hung out, you've grown up together, but you have not spent 24 hours with them or 20 something hours with them for like 6 months. So so I had to deal with a lot of things. Like at first it was cool or whatever, but well, coming back to it, I ended up learning that she was suffering from some mental things herself, and I guess she was kind of projecting that stuff onto me. But she was, like I said, very manipulative. She had stolen from me. She had
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she had stolen from me, and I trusted this girl like she
stole from you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
like
I told y'all she stole. Remember I said she stole that money out of my drawer when she had to
you
go.
did tell me that.
You didn't tell me that.
Okay, yeah, she had stolen from me. I don't want to
rehash.
Who cares?
Okay.
Anyways, but yeah, there was multiple instances where she had stolen money from me, and when I first realized this, I was like, no, this can't be true, because I trusted this girl like she was my sister. Like I let her. Her stuff was my stuff, and I never would have thought that I had to hide my stuff from her because she would steal it or whatever. And just being real manipulative, making it seem like I was crazy for bringing this stuff up, like it was just all in my head. And just being like one second she'd be one way, the next second she'll be like super duper mad, so you had to walk and kind of on a tightrope, getting scared, she'd flip on you or something like that. It just really wasn't the best experience. And but like I said in the other episode, that relationship continued until this summer. So
until June.
And that was it started 4 years ago. So yeah, that maybe tells you a little bit about me, but
That's your mental health. Like,
yeah, that wasn't good. That wasn't
not
good.
her mental health. She just likes.
I mean,
to
I feel like her in a way that was her.
I think maybe it was just had to do with me, of course, giving people a gazillion chances.
She's so sweet.
And thinking that they're going to change. And
that's the definition of insane.
No, it is.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. It is to do something repeatedly and expect a different outcome is the definition of insanity.
Not like the medical one, but that's the philosophical definition.
Philosophically.
But yeah, that was not good for my mental health because
I would have never known that.
It's not good.
I would okay, for the podcast world who don't know this, like I know this person that she's talking about, and like I would have never known that.
I just want to say, like part of it has to do with me being like, hey, this person is toxic for you. You know, you don't need to be around this person. They're toxic. But like you're not gonna say anything because you don't feel like that's your part. But for me, like Gabby being my best friend, I'm like, hey, this person is toxic and they're not good for you.
Yeah,
they're making you feel bad about yourself, and you're just giving them a million chances.
Exactly. So, I said I wanted.
You've seen it, but you didn't say it. Yeah.
I wanted to say something, but I didn't know the dynamics until the next year. And then I said something, but when it was going on, when I saw it, it was like, well, I don't know how to take that because some people think that some people might compare me to her, that I'm bossy or that I'm, controlling, because I guess sometimes without thinking I am. But then I'll be like, oh, I didn't mean it. Do you want to do that? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
Gabby just likes to, like I said, she's really, really sweet, and she gives people a million chances, and she's nice, and she lets people
too many chances. I would have fought her.
I mean, like I said, eventually,
fight Gabby after the podcast.
Obviously, that whole thing is cut off. But just going through that whole process, and it kind of messes with your mind because, like I said, one day it's this way, the next day it's this way, and then you think you can trust the person, but then they go behind your back and do something. Yeah. So it's not good for you.
Yeah,
but
that's why I cut people off, Gabby.
Oh yeah, I'm learning. I'm doing it.
You got to but see, your relationship with this person is my relationship with my dad. I haven't cut him off, but I should probably have. Ooh. But I know that some people, they just don't mean to be a certain way, that they just are that way. And you can think back, okay, let me think. Everybody had a childhood. I understand that. But at some point, they might not have realized, hey, it's time to get up and grow up and move on. And at least I know that, and I can accept this person for who they are.
So for me, you say you haven't cut them off yet, but I cut my abuser off 2 years ago, and it is still really hard today. Like, even after 2 years, it still, affects me mentally. Like, sometimes I still cry about it because I'm like, that's my mother. Why should I? But at the same time, I'm like, why should I care? Because of the way she treated me. Yeah. And so, even cutting her off, it still affects you.
So. I wouldn't call, just in case my daddy ever heard this, I wouldn't call him an abuser. Yeah. I would just call him emotionally negligent.
Oh, I like that.
To some extent. I know he cares and I know he loves me, but he does not understand how to show that other than what he was taught. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And when I go back and I look at his parent and I think about his parents and I look at how they love each other, quote, quote, and I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand. And I know he loves me. I just have to get him to connect with me emotionally. Yeah. Instead of just on a mental level. We connect mentally. That's cool. But emotionally, it's not where it's not popping. Is that right? I used it right?
That's the right way.
Okay.
We're going to talk about coping. Not even, you don't even have to be diagnosed with a mental illness, but we all have our days where we're just kind of just drained and worn out from the world and worn out from people or whatever. What helps you cope? What kind of, what just helps you cope? What helps you relieve stress? What helps you get your mind right?
I'll start it off. Previously, when I was going through like the cycle of mental abuse, physical abuse, I was self-destructive. Anything that would make me die, I would do, and that sounds so awful, but it's deep and it's real.
You like jumping out of the plane?
No, girl, I'm talking about like cutting yourself and drinking alcohol.
Like physically self-destructive.
And yeah, like self-destructive. I was so self-destructive. Like I did not want to live. So I would just lay in my room after school and like sleep, cry, and cut. Like that's awful, but that's what I did. And like I had no one to tell any of that about, especially as a kid. And like my mother at the time, she told me, you know, you don't need a psychiatrist to talk to. You have me, and you can tell me anything. When she's my abuser, you know, and so it was a struggle. It was a real struggle for a really long time. And then I got better, but instead of self-medicating, like cutting and stuff like that, and coping that way, and which, by the way, I was doing all of that while I was on medication.
Yeah, so that probably has
So
something to do with it.
like, you would think that would stop it,
Right.
but it didn't. So I was taking medication then, and then when I got to college and I started living with my dad, I took myself off of medication,
And it got a little better.
and it actually got better, which is crazy. Like I started self-medicating with food instead, which is not great, and you shouldn't do that.
No, it's not.
But I did do that, and now I self-medicate like Bob Ross videos where he's just whispering to you about how great trees are. Painting, I'm an artist, so I love painting. That definitely helps me calm down. Music, TV, things like that. You know, I'm a lot healthier now, so I do healthier things.
Yay, round of applause.
Yay. What about you, Joy? Yeah.
Okay. I probably self-medicate. When I was growing up, I know I self-medicated with writing. Like like I have memory boxes.
Yeah.
Like memory boxes upon memory boxes upon memory boxes. Like I got like 6 to 7 shoe boxes filled with memories or things that I appreciated. And then I got a bunch of journals like lying around. Like throughout the years I've lost some. No lie there. But that's how I mostly got through them when I was younger.
Yeah.
I just wrote everything. Like it was deep. Like I could have wrote a book. I should have wrote a book. Like I probably will one day.
Do it.
But and then as I got older, I wrote and I listened to music and I sang. And that was very therapeutic for me because I feel like I could say, especially when nobody was at home, I would sing and I would sing and I would just sing and I could say whatever I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And it got out. You know what I mean? And another, as I got older, you know, like going from kids to preteens and teens, and as I got older and I was in like late teens to 20s, I started listening more to music and dancing. Like that's very therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
And that's something that has been passed down generation to generation.
Okay, sounds good. With me, going to the gym and relieve that helps me a lot to clear my head.
I wish.
And you should do it. It's fun.
I'll be so skinny.
Or real buff. It helps me to clear my head, and it helps to relieve stress. And like whenever if I'm mad at somebody or just get a lot of stuff, when I can just throw a weight across the room, and then it just makes you feel better.
Oh yeah. I do agree.
And so that music, of course, for some reason, this is really weird. Like I'm a music major. I love music or whatever, but for the past couple months, I really haven't been listening to music like that. And that's weird because music has helped me through a lot of things. Music is weird. It's so wonderful. Like music follows you throughout your entire life, and you can hear a song and then it like reminds you of something, and then you like start crying. But yeah, music has helped I used to dance a lot. Dancing helped me for a little bit too. But mainly now it's just working out and music and yeah, that's pretty much it. And watching YouTube videos.
Have you ever tried this maybe not be very for anybody who is old enough to wield a knife that's listening. If you've tried to take a picture of the person that you're mad at and just put it on a solid, like a box, like a shoe box. Like I said, it has several. And stab that. Like, I only did it once in my lifetime, and I was mad enough to like
What kind of psychotic?
kill. But
like,
I wasn't mad enough to kill. That was a joke. But I was mad. I was so upset, and I was too upset to functionally think about what I wanted to write. So I don't know where I got the idea, but I took a picture. Or no, I didn't have a picture. I took a marker, wrote their name on the box, and I just stabbed that box and went crazy.
That's a
that
no.
sounds really
I mean,
girl interpreted.
you get out your your anger.
I did, and I felt so better, and I
yeah.
went on with my night. I didn't need to write. I didn't need to do anything. I just went on with my night.
Sometimes you need to do that. Like if you're real mad, just exert some force.
Like if I'm really angry, everybody know I don't exercise for fun. It's not a good thing for me. But if I'm so angry at something that I feel like I could just like strangle this person, but I don't care enough to interact with them, I'll go running. Like for a quick run. It's the weirdest thing ever because I don't exercise. And so like by the time I've made it somewhere like 2 minutes, I'm tired. And then I gotta come back. But I'm like, I'm so mad, let me keep going.
It helps. It helps. That's why I always encourage people just to.
But you have to find some way to get out your anger or to get out your emotions without it harming somebody else.
Right. Because I think if you keep it inside, it's gonna start harming you.
Oh yes,
So
I told you that.
Yeah.
Exploded, girl, like a paint bomb.
Right. Okay. So last question is should mental health be considered a disability?
Yes.
Gabby?
I'm asking the question.
You can answer it too.
I mean, y'all, if I'm asking the question, y'all answer, then I'll answer last.
Oh, Lord.
I say yeah, because okay, let's say for instance, which on my job they did do this when you filled out the application, but for instance, you work in an environment like I do, which is like health insurance, and you have calls a lot of the time, which could be triggering to you if someone is telling themselves, or saying, hey, I want to kill myself on your phone, which has happened multiple times. Then disclosing that you are mentally ill and you have depression, and that disclosing that information to your job, I think is really, really important, because if you do get triggered and let's say you go through an episode at that point, then they would be able to help you. So I think it is a disability. Right. Yeah.
I think the question.
Do you think mental health should be considered a disability?
It depends. I think if you're mentally ill, it should be considered a disability. But I also think that people sometimes try to put mentally ill on expressing your emotions. Just because you express your emotions doesn't mean you're mentally ill. I should know. But I think if something is wrong, like you go and you see a psychologist and they diagnose you, if you are mentally ill, then yes, it should definitely be considered a mental illness.
No, disability.
Disability, you know what I mean? That's what I meant. Okay, podcast world.
Yeah. I think so too, because I mean we didn't really get into like the real deep stuff like schizophrenia and multiple personalities and
bipolar disorder,
stuff like that, and even like just the depression and anxiety disorder. I think it should. Disability, of course, doesn't mean that you can't function in society.
Exactly.
Or that something's wrong with you. But I think allowing it to be classified in that way, people might start taking it more seriously, and not thinking it's just they're just all in their head. All they gotta do is just go outside, or they just need to be happy.
That's so crazy. Somebody actually told that to me. I told somebody that I was like, because college brings out the worst and the best in you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I went through a kind of mini lifetime depression in college, just for a bit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I told this to somebody, and they was like, that's not real. I said, huh? But I think it's a cultural thing, and we'll have to do this topic again and get into that.
Yeah.
But I think it is a cultural thing. Like, I know a lot of people do not, specifically, I know a lot of people of color do not believe in depression and things like that. Yeah. And they believe, like, oh, she crazy. But they don't believe in a diagnosis.
Right. Or if they do use it, they say it in like a... what's the word? Like as a way to condescending.
Yeah, like a condescending way.
Something wrong with her.
But just because you are mentally ill, for the podcast world that's listening, if you are mentally ill, know that you have no shame. Mm-hmm. If you are mentally disabled, if that's what you want to call it, know that you have no shame, because there is nothing wrong with admitting that you need help and getting the help that you need, so that you can be mentally healthy.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times, sometimes when we just going back to cultural, like people like they didn't have mental illness back in my day.
Oh, well, God.
I'm pretty sure they did, but y'all just, you just put it under the rug, or you just said, oh, well, they get anger issues, or oh, she just don't like to talk sometimes. The person could have been dealing with like severe depression.
And even if that's the case and they didn't have mental illness back in your day, they also once upon a time didn't have hot running water back in your day. Somebody's day. So, I mean, life progresses. If you don't progress along with it, then that's your fault.
Well, yeah. KT, you had anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I think, because we're talking about all this now, but I'm pretty sure we probably all learned about this, like, on our own by doing research on the internet. And reading articles. I don't think we ever talked about this in school.
Oh,
not in school.
Never. Like,
never.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we all learned about our own mental disabilities or mental health issues on our own. It wasn't something that in high school they do a course over and they're like, hey, these are real mental illnesses and people suffer from them every single day.
I think that's important. Like,
that is.
Yeah, they don't do that because it's like such a stigma on that. Yeah. And it's crazy because if they did, the highest people, I mean, not the highest, but the most people who commit suicide are ages 10 to 24. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
10 to 24 in America. 10 to 24. They're getting younger and younger every year. And it's ridiculous because if somebody took the time to say, hey, these are the signs that you should recognize.
Yes.
Maybe so many young people wouldn't be dying.
I agree.
And I feel like if an older generation isn't concerned, it's because they're not the ones that's dying. The statistics show...
No, because we have more... what's the generation called of old people? I'm sorry, I can't.
Baby boomers.
We have more baby boomers than anything in the world. I mean, in America
And
currently.
if you think about what is the baby boomer? If you think about it, what is before we end this...
Wait, let's not get into that because that's a whole nother topic.
Next topic.
We're going to do an episode.
Next time.
Yeah.
Next time. Podcast world, do you see how they cut me off like that?
Ooh, it's not that I'm kicking you off. I just want us to stay on topic.
I'm just kidding. I was gonna go somewhere with that, but okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, we're not taught that in school. So whenever, like I said at the beginning, whenever you're messed up like that, that's how your life is. That's how your world is. So you don't see anything wrong with it. It's only when someone else says, hey, something is wrong, that you see at that point you're like, oh, I'm not like quote unquote normal, whatever that means.
Right.
And I don't think anybody's normal. Do you?
I mean, normal is relative.
Normal is what society says is normal for that moment.
That's what I meant
That's what she said.
But I just had to
With
clear.
Single
You have
word.
to clarify
Relative.
some things because other people, the podcast world, might not want to look up the word relative. Okay.
I was just going to just relay what y'all said. I was thinking like, what would it be like to grow up and be dealing with a mental illness, but you don't have any education on it. Your family does not believe in it. You don't know to look it up on the internet, so you just or you live like 30 years ago when there was no internet. So you didn't even know what was wrong. You were just dealing with all these things or whatever. That would be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we live in the information age.
Yeah, me too.
I thank the Lord for the internet.
Corny.
But yeah.
Most of the time.
Right. 24/7. Yeah, but that was a little intro part into mental health. You know, we got to give you a little teaser before we get into the meat of it. Even though we kind of did get into the meat
we in
of
the
it.
vegetable part
we
right
shared
now.
some deep stories.
I don't go any farther than the vegetables. Like, that's it. Vegetables and
The veggie meat part.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We got to get to the
tofu
veggie
part.
The tofu
For those,
part.
I'm going to get to the chicken part
vegetarians.
because, you know, I'm not a vegetarian over here like the other people.
But
I
yeah,
eat meat.
We hope you enjoyed it. And audibletrial.com/talkitout. Make sure you check it out.
Yes.
There are a gazillion of books on mental health. I was just looking them up now because I kind of want to learn a little bit more about it because I think it's something important that we should be just knowledgeable of, even if you don't suffer from a mental illness, because you never know if somebody you love does. So there's plenty of books. I'm going to check some out, and when we get to our next mental health episode, I'll be more knowledgeable on the topic and we can get real deep into it. But that is audibletrial.com/talkitout, where you can have access to over 1,800 different audiobooks. Listen to it in your car, on your way to work, at the gym, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, audibletrial.com/talkitout. Talk it out. This is...
Are we going to do any shout-outs?
Shout-outs. Shout them out, KT.
Okay, so we want to shout out Conversation Con Artists.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's my first one because, like, me and the guy on Conversation Con Artists, we always talk in our little chat, in our comments. Yeah, that dude's awesome. Who else do we want to shout out?
Woke with Kids.
Yes.
Yep.
We love you, Woke with Kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
like
the
hearing your
John
little
Effect, obviously. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
We like hearing your little children break stuff in the background. Woke with Kids.
That's neat.
The John Effect podcast, of course.
Drama Dupree.
Takinya Talks.
Yeah.
I got it right this time. Bear with me. And
oh, she's always commenting on our stuff on Facebook. Like, she literally reposts what we post all the time.
yes,
on Facebook.
thank you.
So yeah,
Yes.
thank you
Oh,
so
yeah.
much.
Shout out.
The Real Raw podcast, the Wind Down, the Bag Ladies. Thank you so much for your support. Yeah.
Just all the people who have been commenting on Facebook, on SoundCloud, to all of our fans, to everyone who listens every time we post something.
Yes.
We appreciate
Thank
every
you.
click, every single click. Thank you so much.
We have, and stay tuned, y'all, because we have a giveaway coming up very, very, very soon. You don't want to miss it.
Ooh.
You
Can we participate
cash.
in our gift?
No, because that's illegal.
Oh.
But cold hard cash.
Why would we do that?
Here you go.
I want the
Enjoy.
money.
Right, I'm going to spend the money to give it back to myself. Really?
Right.
That's wonderful. That's what you do. Make a profit.
No. But yeah, thanks everybody. This is Gabby.
Katie.
Enjoy.
And this is Talk It Out.